The title of my talk is Ideas as a Common Basis for Culture. My name is Dr. Alex Hankey. I'm a professor at MIT World Peace University in Pune. I have degrees from the University of Cambridge and from MIT in Massachusetts, where I obtained my PhD. Now, culture is the expression of creative thinking, and all culture is based on creativity. So really, creative thinking is the common basis for culture, and I have recently produced some scientific papers showing that creative thinking is not done through digital information, but is done by the direct encoding of ideas in the mind. It therefore follows that ideas are the common basis for culture because they are the common basis for all creative thinking, and no culture is possible without having been generated by creative. Contrary to what many people think, the mind does not work on digital information. That's only used for specific encoding to translate processes into instructions for muscles, instructions to various organs of action, like what we speak, and for interpreting the simplest levels, preliminary levels of information from the senses. Actually, the mind is basically structured on ideas. It works on ideas, and our skilled actions can only be understood by being successively refined sets of ideas. And when we learn and we learn to understand, everything depends on learning to understand ideas. Only then can we translate and be fluent in a language. We find that when we actually try to translate from one language to another, then the ideas are what do this and make this possible. So if I want to translate from French into German, the point here is that the mind is not a digital machine. It's rigorously possible to prove this, and I have done this in a sequence of recent papers. We look at things like Plato's Republic, where Socrates says, this is the basic philosophy from the West. Socrates says that the mind works fundamentally on ideas in Plato's Republic. This is taken up by Descartes in his discourse on method, and later in his meditations on first philosophy. It was taken up further by Kant, who said that we actually encode concepts as wholes. You can't do that through digital information. That's very reductionist and only records things in parts. So in both East and West, I shall talk about the East, we see that the idea of the mind encoding ideas directly is absolutely fundamental. This is what we shall move to in the next segment. The mind works. In the East, in the Vedic sciences, the limb of the Veda called Shiksha, which occurs in the Taittiriya Upanishad, is very clear about the development of speech. The things that are digital, like the words that I'm speaking, which can be digitally encoded, are the fourth level, known as Vaikari. Under that are the words that come up at the back of my mind and which I know I have to speak next. That is a level that is known as Madhyama, at the level of the throat, the base of the throat. In the heart is the level that the Vedic system calls Pashanti. It's a level of pure ideas, and we know that this is the case Because for those of us who can speak 3 or 4 languages, we know that we can express a word like goodbye, au revoir, auf Wiedersehen, arrivederci, whether it's in English or French or German or Italian. We do it directly from the idea that we want to express without going back to our mother tongue. And when you think about it, this shows you that the encoding of ideas, the way to understand this is when you meet someone who's had a stroke. You say something to them, friendly, and you can see that they know what they want to say, but they can't find the words to say it. This is because Broca's area in the left hemisphere, analytic part of the brain, which translates ideas into words in a particular language, that has been destroyed. So that you can see they know with the ideas that they want to express, but they can't actually find the words to do so because Broca's area has been damaged. So this gives you a very clear understanding that ideas are fundamental. Ideas, as we've said, are the basis of creative thinking, and creative thinking is the basis of all culture. So this shows you very clearly that ideas are the basis of culture and that they are a common basis for all cultures. Now, when we look at it from the perspective of yoga, and I have taught yoga for the last 50 years almost, since 1973. When we look at it from the perspective of yoga, what we see is that there is a level called Ritambhara Pragya, named in Yoga Sutras Pada 1, that's chapter 1, verse 47-48. And this verse says that by long time staying in a state of silent mind, nirvichara samadhi, the mind gains access to the inner light, the light of knowledge. And it then says at this level, there is the cognition of truth, only truth, a level called Ritambhara Pragya. So that is the basis for creative thinking and for all creative ideas. Ritambhara Pragya, known to yogis. This is something in which my guru, Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, trained us very perfectly in 1974, 5 and 6. When a person practices meditation in the fashion described in the Yoga Sutras, then something very remarkable happens. All the ideas which are worrying them gradually vanish. They're called the chittavrittis, and they belong to an area of experience called the chittakash, the field, akash, the field, the space of ideas. But at a deeper level, one gains access to those ideas that are the common heritage of all cultures everywhere. The ideas that any creative mind can actually access in the most beautiful and perfect state of pure consciousness. And that level, called Ritambhara Pragya, is known only to encode truth. So here we have the basis of all creative thinking and all culture, the level known in yoga as Ritambhara Pragya, the level of ideas common to all humanity, all civilizations everywhere. Ideas are the basis for culture.